if the evil minority is not confronted, slowly the majority who is silent will start to believe this is the case. And will start to diffuse towards this strong, very talkative, very dangerous, and very, influential minority groups. We have to act on a decisive way without any fear. I'm Israel High.
But I also want to emphasize, in conclusion, the notion of making sure that we review and reflect also on the legal frameworks in our respective countries and make sure that they are progressive and are responsive to the current challenges of today, but also to ensure that we manage and we prevent people from engaging in acts that have caused harm and hate before, and reflect on the impact of the Holocaust and apartheid in our societies. On that note, I rest my case. I know that you promote apartheid as apartheid, but I'm South African, so we call it what it is, apartheid.
Okay, so how it works on a day-to-day basis is that the teams in each country we're always looking at the news stories and thinking what news stories might act as what we call discourse triggers for potentially anti-Semitic speech, right? So any news stories that come up or things that are getting spoken about, we mark them down, and then we try and collect relevant corpora, the comments to be analysed for each of those stories. So some examples over the last year: the Russian invasion of Ukraine, various flashpoints in the Middle East conflict, the whole David Miller case in the UK. I don't know if you're aware of that, but that was a real shocker, hardcore anti-Semite, big protest about him. So coverage of that. There were some trials of former concentration camp employees in Germany last year, I think, that we looked at. COVID protests in France around the health pass and the kind of anti-Semitism there. The boycott of Israeli publishers by the Irish author Sally Rooney. So we collect all the news stories, and then we use this thing called a crawler, which then goes online and downloads all of the comments that are on there.
And it's a preemptive form of what I call preemptive meta-discrimination. Preemptive meta-discrimination is a kind of discrimination that ensues not by saying you're hateful and beastly or whatever. It's you portray the other person as being the hater, right? And therefore, victim status can't be attributed to this person who is hateful. They're the powerful person who's hateful. Victim status doesn't apply. That's a scheme. That's a preemptive attack against them being able to be perceived as victims, because they're the preemptivity is that they themselves are kind of like the power brokers who are responsible for things. Thus, victim status doesn't apply.